So you are the American priest that Padre Ventura was talking about. I love America. Please, come to confess me.
What the fuck?
Can we merely the confession?
You're forgiven.
Father, forgive me because I've sinned.
No.
I had an affair with my...
What the hell?
It's all right. Just say three Hail Marys.
No, Father, you don't understand. You are not a priest.
Yeah, that typical indie. Typical. It's about to get diplomatic. What's good, people? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we have got Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, my final thoughts. So if you're someone who has not played the game yet, please make sure you back out the video because there will be spoilers ahead going forward, and I don't want you to be ruined by the story at all. But anyway, let's continue. So the story is set in between the Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Temple of Doom, but it's a completely different story and doesn't follow the movies. But I would suggest to go and see the movies, guys, because the movies get you to understand Indiana Jones and it helps you with the setting, and it doesn't necessarily give away like too much of the story in this game. It doesn't give away the story at all in this game, but it does help you understand Indiana Jones as a character and what he is like and what he is going through each of these adventures. But anyway, let's continue. Indy, who is recently split from his wife, Marion Ravenwood, and is working at Marshall College, wakes up from a dream whilst someone has broken in, stealing a cat mummy artifact in the museum. Locus, who is an agent for the Nephilim Order, was assigned to steal this artifact and protect the mystery of the Great Circle, which is a group of old ancient artifacts that can cause destruction for the world as we know. Not knowing the risk of this journey and finding more information on what the Great Circle is, Indy meets a journalist along the way called Gina Lombardi, who has her own personal interest of finding her missing sister, who has recently been missing for, let's say, for like the last couple of months or year. And whilst doing that, an old rival pops up who is Emmerich Voss. He is a Nazi archaeologist, and we all know Indiana Jones. He does not like Nazis. Let's talk about the gameplay and features. It's first person. The only time it goes into third person is when you are climbing and moving certain objects. For example, most likely heavy puzzle pieces, or if you just need to push something that's out of your way. You are equipped with Indy's trusted pistol and whip. Yes, the pistol and whip. What would it be if we didn't have the pistol and whip in Indiana Jones? I think a lot of people would be pissed because that's his signature stuff. You can't have that without that stuff, you know what I mean? Plus, you got his journal, which provides a map and allows you to keep any letters with diagrams, notes, things like that, just help you, to get along the story along better. In terms of combat, you do have to parry and block, but you can also use weapons such as a baton, guns, and even a household item such as a broom. Yes, a broom. I've seen it, guys. I've used it, and it's a lot of fun. I'm not going to lie to you. It gets fun using different household objects. And I think it just makes it more interesting, adds more character to Indy. Indy's a playful guy anyway, so he's going to make fun of it regardless. Whilst being in combat, do watch out for your stamina bar also, as if you start pressing buttons too quickly, it does get drained very, very easily. So this is something that you need to note in your head, guys, that you can't just fight and throw punches and do whatever you want without remembering your stamina bar, so please be mindful of that. Enemies you will encounter from regular soldiers, grunts, medics, radio operators, brutes, officers, heavies, and attack dogs. Yeah, those attack dogs are vicious, but if you just use the whip, you should be fine. Different disguises to use and blend in, but watch out for the captains as they will notice you a lot more. So as much as you have these disguises, guys, the captains can really spot you quickly. Everyone else won't, but the captains, as soon as you see that circle above their head, you get out of the way, you run. You're right, you run. I'm telling you, you don't want to be caught by one of these people because all the guards in the area will be after you, and then you'll be pretty much surrounded. If you look around the different levels, you can find secret ancient relics, which does lead to a secret ending once all of them is collected. Now, mind you, I didn't find all these relics. I tried. I'll probably say I found 45 to 50% of them. But knowing this, I'm just like, well, this wasn't the main thing for me in the game anyway. That really was something that I was always doing. But when I found them is when I found them. When solving puzzles, you will get adventure points which you can use to help boost your health and stamina bars, which is definitely needed as you go deeper into the story, guys. So mind you guys, when it comes to certain bosses, your upgrades are going to be so important, okay? And some will take longer than others, but I wouldn't say they are crazily boring and confusing for the most part. So if you do get stuck solving puzzles, guys, just remember to use your camera, as it will give you hints, and Indy will say himself what the exact hint is. And sometimes you do have to retrace your steps because you can be moving objects, you can be moving pieces, but that is the whole purpose of the game, guys. And I think that's always been the thing about Indiana Jones, is that he's always retracing his steps, he's always trying to understand these puzzles correctly. Repair boxes come in handy, as if you use a weapon for a few times, they will break, but they are easily fixable, guys. And I think with the repair boxes, guys, they are found in different places on different levels that you're in. So don't be afraid to like just explore and look around for them, because they could be anywhere. They could be on a table, in a corner, you know, they could be in a cellar. Just depends where you are on what different level you're on, right? So just make sure you just search around. Collectibles can vary, such as bandages for health, fruits and different breads for extra stamina and health, which helps durability when facing bosses. Now remember, guys, when it comes to your stamina bar, even though it does run out, you can regain it back by eating fruits, breads. This is important, especially if you're trying to fight bosses or different enemies. This will keep your health, and especially if you eat different breads, it gives an extra durability on your health, so then that way it doesn't run out too quickly. And then of course, lastly, different books can also help increase your stamina, weapons, exploration, combat knowledge to further your skills, which are definitely needed going forward. So let's talk about the positives of the game. The story allows you to get straight away immersed and into the mix as indie. So if you're someone who loves an action adventure game and you don't like the slow burn of a story, you don't have to worry about that. You start off pretty much at the Raiders of the Lost Ark, pretty much, you know, the first sequence of the movie, running away from that giant ball, and then of course you're switching back into the present time indie to fight off obviously locusts in the first mission in the college museum. So this is something that you don't have to worry about, you know, slow pacing. I think the pacing in this game is very good. It doesn't take too long to get into certain bits. It just takes about enough of the right time for you to get into this. Voice acting performance from Troy Baker was really good, guys. When I heard Troy Baker was being the voice actor for Indy, I was like, you know what, he might be able to pull this off, because you know, in terms of voice acting, this guy is pretty much a legend. So hearing Troy Baker sound like Indiana Jones, sound like Harrison Ford, the original guy, it's weird, but it's also very, very good to see that how much information and knowledge he's taken from being Indiana Jones himself. It's not even just like, no, he sounds like him. It's just the mannerisms as well, the jokes he makes, the stuff that he talks about, the history, the knowledge that Indiana Jones has. Troy Baker just adopts that, and the performance is done really well. You can travel to different locations no matter where you are in the story. Now, this is something that's really good, guys. As this is an open world, this is a really good option to have, because if you're someone who likes doing side missions, or if you're someone who wants to collect all the collectibles and you want to go through the main story first and do everything after, then that makes sense. You know, you definitely want to, you know, pace yourself and just go through different locations, and then, or you can just roam about for a bit. You don't necessarily have to focus on the main story, which is a good option to have. The upgrade system is pretty simple, so you don't have to necessarily worry about a skill tree. And I think for a game like this, it doesn't need a skill tree. All you have is just pretty much, you just get the books, and then you just read certain books, whether it's about fighting, whether it's about knowledge, whether it's about exploration. You know, you can upgrade the system points just like that. And collecting adventure points, guys, you just pretty much get it from solving puzzles and stuff like that. So it's not something that is pretty much hard to do in the game. Despite not being open world, the game allows you to explore within each mission. So guys, even if you're someone who doesn't want to necessarily do the main story, as I said before, you can just focus on exploring, all right? Like I said, even with the ancient relics, guys, if you want to explore throughout different places, like within Egypt, the Vatican and so forth, then you can do that. You can easily do that. You don't have to worry about it affecting the story. Even like doing side missions, it doesn't affect the story. Action sequences get more fun and intense, which you can expect for playing as someone like Indiana Jones. Guys, when you watch the movies and in this game, it's no different to how Indiana Jones is dealing with adventures on a daily basis. He is expected to get shot at. He is expected puzzles to just mess up on him. He is expected to just take things and just ruin things for himself or drop things. Like, honestly, guys, he has seen it all. He has done it all. This is Indiana Jones. I expect nothing less but the action to be on point, fun, and intense. Like, it does get intense. Honestly, you're going to see some of these sequences. You're going to think like, wow, this is really happening. But hey, it's a typical day in the life of Indiana Jones, right? Comedy is something that you always expect in Indiana Jones, and it isn't forced, guys. When I tell you, you are going to laugh at some of these sequences in this game, guys. Honestly, yeah. As you saw earlier in the video, you know already, this game is built of comedy. And Indiana Jones isn't someone who forces that comedy out. It just naturally comes. Like, you just see him, you just see him doing the most. You see, he will say the most and do the most just to make you laugh. But it's worth it in a game like this. Lastly, I like the fact that Gina is helping you and tagging along on this journey, because she does help at some points, especially when you're trying to like get to like higher places. She will, you know, you as Indy will basically lift her up, and then she will help you, grab you up, and obviously take you on to the next level in certain places of different levels. So it is good to have someone like that, and you both get to understand each other. You understand Indy more, you understand Gina a lot more. So it's good that she is coming along with this journey, and she gets to experience what Indy experiences on every journey he's pretty much experienced, right? So yeah, give or take, right? Now, with there being positives, there are also negatives about this game that I didn't like. And let me know in the comment section, guys, if you have played this game, and let's discuss some of the negative things you didn't like about it, because I feel like it's an important thing to discuss the negatives, as, you know, not every game is going to exactly have everything you 100%. Like, there's going to be some things that just, you know, kind of either grind your gears or just kind of slightly annoy you. Being in first person doesn't help you see your surroundings, and the only time it gets to third person is when you are climbing, pushing, or lifting objects. Yeah, so guys, being in first person, I thought this would have been a better experience, but it sometimes isn't. It makes it very difficult to do certain things. So when you're climbing, when you're pushing, lifting, again, that's the only time you're being third person. And I think this game would have been better off being third person, because you get to see more of your surroundings. You get to like figure out more routes on where to go. You get to avoid certain enemies. And it's just, you know, it's something that I wish could be implemented for maybe another game. Stealth can be very hard, especially when you don't have disguises. So as I said, being in first person and stealthing isn't exactly easy in this game. And I will say that if you don't have disguises, such as like, you know, I don't know, you have a simple regular soldier disguise, you're not gonna be hidden from enemies, guys. They're gonna easily pick up on you straight away. And like I said, with the captain, it's gonna be even easier if you don't have a certain disguise. Despite Gina helping you on this journey, she doesn't do much. Now, you can't necessarily control her actions. The only thing you can do together is if, like, you know, you're twisting certain things to open doors, you're basically lifting each other up to get to a higher point in like a cave, for example. But you can't even control her actions. You can't even tell her, oh, Gina, go there, Gina, go here, Gina, hide, or something like that. And I think that would have made it more interactive for even a person who's just a single player game to be like, okay, well, she can actually help me here, you know. I mean, even when you do get into combat, she does help, but at the same time, you can kind of deal with it yourself anyway. You don't necessarily need Gina for that. Puzzles are not crazily hard, but you do have to spend a lot of time doing them if you miss a step, so you have to readjust. Now, guys, the puzzles are not like, you know, again, puzzles are not hard. They do get progressively harder as you go on. And they're not necessarily hard to figure out, but the problem is that when you lose your step in a puzzle, you're basically just gonna be going backwards. So you do kind of have to like readjust and just think about how you're gonna do this properly or how you're gonna do it next, which can make it boring, and it does make you suffer for the amount of time you put into the effort of solving puzzles. The combat system isn't the worst, but I wouldn't sit here and say it's the best, especially with that stamina bar, guys. Once you start throwing certain punches or you push or whatever, you are going to be tired. So if you don't upgrade that stamina bar, you're going to really lose out on combat, because the combat in this game, I wouldn't say it's like, you know, like I said, the worst or the best. You have a block, you have a parry, you can throw punches, and you can even dodge, but then even then, doing all of that, it just drains your energy. So just be mindful about the combat system, and I hope in the next game it does get kind of fixed, because I do feel like they can do a better type of style with this, especially it being first person. Weapons are not silenced, so guys, again, if you're someone who loves stealth, just be mindful about the weapons, because a lot of the enemy weapons are not silenced, and you can use them as like a baton to hit other enemies and stuff. But the thing is, if you want to shoot somebody, you're gonna pretty much make every single guard in the closing perimeter aware of you. So just be mindful that this is something that's not gonna benefit you in terms of trying to stealth. So just be mindful of that. And lastly, be careful of when using objects to hit enemies, as there will be animation to trigger it. But if you don't trigger that animation, guys, you're gonna again alert more enemies. So remember, guys, if you see the animation where it taps him on the shoulder or something like that, and then he hits him, it's cool. If that doesn't happen, he goes straight away onto the floor. Sometimes it does knock him out, but then there are times where it just completely does the wrong thing, and then he's alerted, all the other enemies around are alerted, and it just makes it harder for you to just move through the mission. So, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. What do I think of this game, guys? Honestly, this is still a great game despite the negative things I've just said. This game felt like literally a part of the movie trilogy, even though it's its own different story. And I definitely want to see this game be expanded on with other sequels, and just, you know, a lot of fun. Like, I had a lot of fun playing this. This was definitely one of the best games of 2024. And it's a shame that it never came out earlier, because I felt like if it came out earlier, it would have been it probably would have been game of the year. It honestly would have been that. And it's definitely been my game of the year for 2024. This game has the adventure, the storytelling, the action, the fun sequences, the comedy, all of this stuff applies, and it just makes this game so great. So I'm definitely looking forward to the sequel. Now, if I was to rate this game out of 10, guys, which you know I normally do and I normally have to do it, it would be a solid 8 out of 10. You can't go wrong, guys. You cannot go wrong picking this game up, guys, honestly. And it's free on Xbox Game Pass, so just be mindful. If you've got Game Pass, you got PC, you got an Xbox console, please get this game. It is completely worth it. But yeah, guys, that's going to be pretty much it for the video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, comment your thoughts down below, and tell me how you felt about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one. I'm gone. Peace.
I guess this is goodbye.
Yeah. This is yours.
Laura's journal. Thank you.
Say, you wanna stick around for a little while? I got some friends. They could show us the sights.
There's a war coming. And I have a hell of a story to tell. And I think you will be too busy chasing the past.
I don't know. Think I could make room for other things?
Not me. Not now. Too much is at stake. Adios, Rambo.
Jones! I mean, when all of this is over. Maybe we can have that fancy dinner!